And there's big business at the top. At the top of the show, there's big business. Last week, Conor McGregor goes to Bellator. Friend wins a fight. He proceeds to jump over the side of the octagon and
go crazy.
Attack Mark Goddard? I mean, is attack the right word to call it?
I don't know. He said, right? He said first it was like, all right, he's celebrating with his friend. It's not appropriate to jump to cage and tackle your friend, but, you know, he got caught up in the moment. And then it got really confusing because then it was like, I didn't think Mark Goddard was inappropriate. I just tapped him and said, hey, you're not allowed to be in here. And then he started freaking out, and going, you know, John Jones crazy. So he thought, like, what's going on here? Like, he's super powered all of a sudden. But he seemed so mad. You couldn't figure out, like, he can't be that mad just because the guy tapped him on the shoulder and you read, oh, it's the same guy that told him not to go up to the cage in Poland. But then today they were talking about the fight hadn't been stopped or something, and he told him, hey, the fight's not over. So then he lost it. Then he tries to jump back over, and if he had any excuse of like, oh, the referee, blah, 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 but to then leave the cage, run around a little bit, then jump back over and slap the Bellator employee.
That's some of the most. Hey, that is some of the most insane shit. How you gonna slap the Bellator dude?
That makes it hard to say like, oh, I was just mad at this one ref for stopping the fight. Then he's just like, you know, maybe he thought everyone looked the same, or he just was like, I can't get to the ref, so I'm gonna slap you. But the best would have been if one of the cameramen would if he had like a GoPro on and you just see Conor like eyes popping out of his head on top of the cage, like all of a sudden smacking you. And they did a victory lap, but then the rumor on the underground was that he had then gotten in a big fight at the hotel, but I guess that turned out to maybe not be true.
It's like it went from like 0 to 1,000. Like 0 to 100 was just like not enough, right? It was like to 1,000. It's like it just kept growing and growing. Sometimes you hear these stories of stuff that happens and you're like, it sounds too much like something out of a movie to be real.
Yeah.
And then you see it with your own two eyes, right? And you don't understand. I don't know what Conor was doing. I really don't know what he was doing. I'm like, well, okay, I get it. You went to celebrate with your buddy. Cool. Right? I get it. You know, you're emotional. His friend won the fight, right?
His friend won the fight. Yeah. So his friend apparently was losing. Because I only saw the clips of after the fight. So he was losing. Then he had the guy down apparently. Conor thought he had won by knockout, but then he was saying that the referee told him, no, it wasn't. It's not over. The bell rang. But meanwhile, the other fighter was, you know, pretty much done, and then it just got all confusing.
So the fight didn't go on after the break, right?
No. So it sounds like so that's another weird thing. It seems like it must have been over at that point.
It had to have been over because if his guy was declared the winner afterwards, they wouldn't have done that if the fight wasn't finished. But then. Yeah. So Conor pushes the guy, and he's running around in the middle of the octagon, and it seems like everybody's confused. Everybody's like, "What the hell's going on?" Right? Because they're like trying to keep Conor from Mark Goddard, which is the most odd rivalry in the history. It's like Dana White and freaking it's like Dana and the fucking referee from Brazil, Mario Yamasaki.
Yeah.
It was like these weird rivalries that like, what the fuck, like you and Yamasaki has a rivalry, and then you and fucking Goddard have what's gonna come of this, right? Like this is so stupid. And then he goes back up to him, and he pushes him, right? But he pushes him in a way where it's almost like he knows he shouldn't be doing it, but he's doing it. Like you ever watch kids like fight, and they're like, I want to fucking push this dude because it will make a statement, but I know if I push this dude, he's probably going to kick my ass, right? So you like kind of do it, but like you don't want to really do it.
Yeah.
So he kind of pushed the guy. It's like almost like he understood that if he did it, he would be in a lot of trouble, but it was like he had kind of gone too far, and it's like it's too late to pull back now.
Yeah.
I have to go through with this. It was just an odd.
And then he figured, fuck it, I've gone through with this. Now I'm going to get out of the cage. Now I'm going to jump back in, slap a guy. Then I'm going to jump back out of the cage, and then I'm going to do a victory lap, like, you know, waving for the crowd to cheer me on, and then I'm gonna leave. It was like,
why'd he slap the guy though? Like that is the.
I don't know. I mean, like, so you read there was the funny thing is like the conspiracy theories, right? So one person's like, oh, he did this on purpose. Because he doesn't want to defend his belt, and he wants to get banned from MMA, so he has an excuse to go box. I'm like, that is crazy. That would be
the guy loves to fight.
That would be a lot of No, I'm saying that would be. The
guy loves to fight,
and that would be a lot of work to premeditate. I'm going to go to a Bellator. I'm going to jump the cage. I'm going to slap the random guy in the cage. I'm going to attack the referee just so I don't have to fight. It's like that makes no sense. Then the other one, then the more alarming one, I think like MMA Mania had a little reference to it is like these fast rises, like you start to worry about the fast fall, and there's a lot of comments on there which are just random people's comments. But there's a lot of everyone in the industry knows it's common knowledge about certain party habits, and so if I was part of his team, that would be the most concerning part to me. Is like it comes out like you go on the underground, it's the same thing. Hey, come on, everyone knows he likes to party certain ways, and hey, everyone knows this and everyone knows that.
But how does everybody know that he parties those types of ways?
No,
right?
I'm just saying so the concerning part, if I was part of his team or his management, would be like, hey, whether this is true or not, we gotta. That's one thing that you gotta nip in the bud, where it can't be like, you don't want people saying, hey, where there's smoke, there's fire, and if everyone says, hey, this guy likes to do this or this guy likes to do that, to me that's the part where it's like, that would be a shame, because like he's got such a meteoric rise, and you don't want to see some extracurricular activities bring him down. I'm not saying I have no reason to believe that any of those things are there, but I just think it's different when there's people posting that things. That would be alarming. If I was, his manager was like, oh, he just was bummed out. He gets more excited about when his friends fight. He jumps the cage quite a bit. So then there's the other people saying,
but he has done that though, because when Artem Lobov, when he was on The Ultimate Fighter, Conor jumped in
over the cage,
and he ripped his pants. Remember, his pants were like ripped because he was going to celebrate. So it's like he has done that. So I mean, I get it. But so what I guess the issue was for him, as he said, once he had a teammate fighting and some guy died in the octagon.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, if this fight's over and you're letting this guy take unnecessary damage, that's why he said he got upset. Yeah. Now, here's the issue, right? The initial apology was fuck everybody.
Yeah, no, it was fuck yous all.
Yeah, right? It was like fuck everybody, right? Which is completely unacceptable. At some point, you have to take responsibility for your actions and the things that you've done.
Yeah.
But then to come back with the apology today, it's almost as if it's like, okay.
Well, his PR team said, hey, come on, dude, you got to do this.
A week has passed. Yeah. Now we really got to do something.
And if you look at the picture, that accompanied it, it's kind of
almost like he's smirking.
It's almost like he's smirking, or he took that picture that night. Like he just looks a little like, like so fired up to make this apology. But it's almost like someone just got him and he's like, all right, fuck it, I'll do this fucking apology. Hey, kind of smirking and just like, but I don't know. It's a, I just want I want him to, like, whether you're rooting for him or against him, you want it to be because he's a great fighter and you like the brashness, but I just don't want to see like weird erratic shit become like the norm for him, like he's a smart guy, he's a funny guy, he knows what he's doing. We want that. You don't want to see something where it's just like, oh no, look at this guy just went off the rails.
The young guys that have success, especially quick success, when they're erratic and they seem to be moving without, for a guy that's been everything's been thought out, right? Everything's been planned. Everything has been with a purpose.
Yeah.
For a guy like that to have achieved what he's wanted and now to start moving without a purpose, it's scary.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's never really done that. From the moment Conor jumped into our
he's always had a next step.
It's always had a next step. And when he starts to do stuff like that, it's almost like there's no need to try to chase and pursue the next step anymore because everything's been accomplished. So
yeah,
that's, as a guy that likes watching him fight, as a guy that likes what he's done for the sport and everything, that to me is concerning because I'm like, well, what is allowing you? What is there just too much comfort in what you've accomplished? Your goals were so big, but now that the goals are accomplished, what is it that's going to drive you now?
Yeah,
that's the shit that scares me, right? Because they have to chase something. Yeah. Guys like that, they have to chase something. George St. Pierre, he has to chase something. Yeah. Now that George has accomplished the welterweight title, the middleweight. What now? What is going to be that thing that George St. Pierre pursues to keep him happy? The goals are so big, man. You always need something more.
You also need it depends who you have around you, right? Like you guys have multiple champions, but there's a camaraderie and there's a team that like keeps you in check, and your head starts to get a little big and kind of pulls you back down. Or, I think that if you've seen it in not just in sports, you see it in everything. Like, is there anyone willing to tell him like, hey, dude, you gotta chill out for a second, or hey, focus? I think it's a lot of yes men, and I think there's some people that I don't think he would want anyone around him that wasn't a yes man at this point, right? Like it's got to be tough. I mean, everything you see and you predict and you want to be true comes true. At some point, you start believing I can do anything, and then there's even if you look at career-wise, he was able to do whatever he wanted, and it was amazing that he could do it all. But at the same way, no one was willing to say no ever, like along the way, right? So if you look at it like, it's great for Conor, it's not great for two divisions that you've held up the weight classes. The UFC decided to do that because he's always had the leverage, because he's accomplished such big things, and he's so popular, and he's so much more of a draw than the other guys. But anyway, it's a crazy story. It's like the other thing is, like, when someone gets to be that big, you don't expect this kind of shit to happen, so it makes it more entertaining, right? I mean, let's face it, if it was some guy from the prelims had jumped the cage and gone crazy, we wouldn't even care. So it's part weird behavior and part because of who it is. But I want to see DC top it. I mean, pretty bummed out if he doesn't try to beat this.
That's the thing, man. Like, you just got to be very careful. And Conor has a good circle of guys: John Kavanaugh, Owen Roddy. Yeah. Those guys, his girlfriend, his parents, they all love him so much. And if anybody can actually pull him back and go, hey, look, we got to kind of reel things in a little bit, still be Conor, because Conor and being Conor is why we're all here today.
Yeah.
But reel it in a little bit, because you are who you are because of who you are. But at the end of the day, we have to keep some normalcy, because not only are you representing you and our family and team anymore, but now you have a kid. And at some point, your kid is going to have to see all this stuff. So